Kayoma rested quietly upon the generous banks of the Niger River, where the mornings began with golden mist rising from the water and the air carried the scent of wet clay and palm oil. Here, the potter's fires never died. Among them worked a young woman named Sohni, whose fingers shaped the earth with a mastery passed down through generations. Her pots were not just vessels, they were the heartbeats of the village, carrying water to the thirsty, cooking meals for the hungry, and decorating the homes of those who sought beauty in humble things. She was known for more than her art. Soniwa's presence was like the dawn, gentle yet impossible to ignore. Her braided hair caught the wind like threads of night, and her steps upon the riverbank seemed to leave behind a trail of quiet grace. Seasons passed until one day the rhythm of the village shifted with the arrival of a caravan. Cattle lowed beneath the sun as traders from the northern deserts unpacked their wares. Leather, salt, and dates dried under foreign skies. Among them was a man named Mahiwal, tall, weathered by sandstorms, yet carrying a gaze filled with quiet depth. The villagers saw him as a stranger. The river saw him as a story waiting to be told. Day by day, Mahiwal lingered near the potter's stalls, finding reasons to return, not for trade alone, but for the sight of the young woman who worked there. The river had begun its whisper, and the winds carried it. Something was stirring between the daughter of clay and the son of sand. Love, when forbidden, grows in silence. Under the ancient baobab tree, where roots stretched like the fingers of time, their paths often crossed. The river became their witness, the stars their secret scribes. It was a love that needed no words, a bond formed between glances, gestures, and the gentle passing of seasons. But the elders of Kayoma were cautious people. They believed the river carried not only blessings, but also curses when hearts defied tradition. The whispers grew louder. A potter's daughter and a desert trader? Such love is as fleeting as the floodwaters. As the seasons turned, the elders decided her future without her consent. Soniwa was to marry a wealthy fisherman, a man with nets that swept the river and coin that pleased the village chiefs. Her pottery remained beautiful, but the colors she painted dulled. The fire in her kiln burned as before, yet her spirit cooled like clay left too long in shade. Mahiwal was told to leave the village. On the far side of the river, he built a small hut of reeds and clay, its doorway always facing the waters, as if waiting for the day they would bring her back. Yet love finds its own roads, even when the paths are closed. Each night, when the moonlight stretched across the Niger like a silver road, Soniwa would take a strong clay pot, turn it upside down, and push herself across the river's dark belly to where Mahiwal waited. There, on the distant shore, their love lived in borrowed hours, a love condemned by day, alive by night. The river knew their secret. It carried the ripples of her nightly crossing and whispered it to the reeds, the fish, and the restless crocodiles beneath. But the eyes of envy are never truly closed. One who shared her household, her sister-in-law, sharp-tongued and bitter, grew jealous of her hidden joy. In the stillness of one night, while the village slept, she replaced the strong-baked pot with one made hastily of raw, unbaked clay, a vessel that looked whole but crumbled at the kiss of water. That night, the river was no friend. Clouds rolled over the moon, winds carried the cries of distant hyenas, and the current swelled heavy with rain-fed fury. Yet love does not measure weather, it only measures distance. Soniwa stepped into the dark water, clutching the pot that would betray her. The villagers' lamps flickered behind her. The far bank seemed so close, and yet so far when the river decides otherwise. Midstream, the clay began to soften, first a crack, then a hiss, then the chilling breath of the river rushing in. The pot collapsed beneath her hands like ash. The river seized her, pulled her down into its cold chest. On the opposite bank, Mahiwal plunged in, fighting the current with a heart heavier than the waters themselves. For a heartbeat, their hands nearly met beneath the black water, fingertips brushing like two lives trying to hold the same thread. But the river was older and it pulled them apart. When dawn broke, the river was calm again, as if it had never raged. But the village woke to silence that carried more weight than thunder. Along the reeds, they found only a broken anklet, caught like a whisper of what had been. Regret came too late. The elders who once warned her now built a shrine of wood and clay upon the bank, where the current was strongest. Time carried the story flowers like a canoe downstream, but the river did not return. Fishermen sang it to their children. Travelers paused to listen when the reeds swayed at night. They said the river whispered two names whenever the moon turned silver, sohni and mahiwal. The Niger had claimed their bodies, but not their memory. It told their tale not as a warning alone, but as a truth. Love that hides will always be hunted. Love that dares may drown, but it leaves a song that even a river cannot swallow. And so their love became a river, sometimes calm, sometimes cruel, but forever flowing through the hearts of those who dare to cross for what they believe.